Drug test on Lucius.
I will call the regular meeting to order for the Irmo Town Council for January the 7th, and I will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Father, we thank you, Lord, for this new year. We thank you, Father, for this time before us, for the town's business before us tonight. We just ask you, Lord, for your wisdom, your grace and mercy upon us. Lord, we thank you, Father, for the men and women who are throughout the world there for us, protecting us, serving for us, and giving us this privilege, Lord, to be here today. And we just give you thanks. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Next thing on the agenda is the reading of minutes from December the 3rd. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
And any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the minutes as written, do so with show of hands. Next item is the administrative briefing. And Mr. Brown, do you have anything you want to add to it?
No, sir.
Any questions?
We don't have anything in January but this meeting?
There is another meeting.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, next would be what, 14th?
But the February the 15th is set as the recycling
Yes.
date, okay.
Yes.
And that's electronic recycling.
Yeah, probably going to do it at Crossroads again. But Mrs. Buck was trying to get another vendor to come do that. You haven't heard anything else?
Not yet.
Okay.
We overwhelmed the last
We
video or something.
yeah, we did.
Well, let's hope it's not too cold out there on February 15th.
Any more questions? Next item is receipt of communications, and I think we have the poster winners from H.E. Corley Elementary School here by the Arbor Day Committee, and I think Mr. Youngner asked for this. I'll turn it over to you. All right.
Well, this is an exciting time. Anyone from H.E. Corley in this room knows that council about 20 people here. So thank you for coming. This is to honor the 3 poster winners that they did this great artwork in honor of Arbor Day. And we celebrated that on December 6th. And we had this wonderful presentation at the school. We weren't sure what we were going to see that day. Town council, all the town council showed up. We thank you for doing that. Appreciate it very much. But the students put on this great show, the most beautiful show I think I've ever seen. There was the chorus, there were strings. It's a leadership magnet school, and it showed. Dr. Francini, who's the principal, who's here today, tonight, and she, under her leadership, the school does a magnificent job. Students just enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed watching it. So I know the posters are going to be coming here soon. They should be arriving. But we're going to award some prizes to the winners. And last year we spent $40,000 at H.E. Corley. On the first phase, we did great landscaping to it, and then we added another $50,000 to it, a total of about $90,000 was spent at H.E. Corley. And we thank the school district for putting irrigation in so these plants could stay alive. So, if you haven't had a chance to go by to school, please do so. I'm sure Dr. Francini would love to have you there as a guest. Go there and eat some lunch. And here's the art teacher, Kate Montella. She's got the artwork, the winning artwork. And I'm going to ask, one more thing. The St. Andrews Optimist Club also gave some benches to this park. So they gave 4 park benches. And so y'all just come and sit on the benches and admire the great landscaping that we planted there. So we want to make a difference to improve H.E. Corley, and I believe we have done that. So at this time, I'd like to ask Dr. Peggy to come up front, and she's going to introduce the winners, and we'll present the awards. We'll have pictures, and I know some parents and their families are here, and y'all can take some pictures as well.
Paul, can I ask y'all to stand back towards the mayor so I can get you on the video?
Get to stand right here next to you.
Perfect.
Well, I am really pleased to be here tonight and to call our winners forward. But since I have the opportunity to stand before you and you, I do want to say how proud I am to be the principal at H.E. Corley, where we are a leadership magnet school. Leadership being the idea of teaching children the habits, the 7 habits that are advanced by Stephen Covey, that do make leaders. And regardless of what a child may choose to do in the future, no matter what their career may be, those habits of leadership will go with them. And so tonight I have the honor of presenting some rewards to our art leaders. And the 3rd place winner is Brianne. Gonna get it in just a second, Brianne. I forget your last name. There we go, Brianne Nielsen. If Brianne, you'll come forward, that'll be great. And I think Miss Montella has your poster. And 2nd place goes to Hannah Mullen. Cool, Hannah.
Let's see it.
Just turn over here.
Turn around
There
here.
you go. You want to see him too?
Show it up here. Oh, yeah.
Wow. And our 1st place winner is Trinity Folk.
Oh, that's pretty.
How about you scoot over close to the younger? You scoot over close to there. And will that do for you, sir?
That is great. Everybody smile at the camera. Big smile. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. If you just give me a second, I want to get one more in case somebody blank. Okay. Those are some sharp-looking posters there. 1, 2, 3.5, and 3. There we go. All right.
Oh, you're
Thank
good.
you.
All right, wait.
Parents won't do it.
All right, parents. It looks like it. So, this money, the 1st place is $50, 2nd place is $25, the 3rd place is $25. This is all donated by Moore Taylor Law Firm. So we certainly thank them for donating this money. So here's your $25. It's 25 coins. And here's 50 coins. And a hold it, make sure you don't drop them. Oh, you will?
Congratulations.
Yes.
Yes.
You want to bring your parents? Parents want to make sure. Thank you so much.
Of course, they're all girls.
Yeah, what's up with that?
It's artist.
There were so many posters, by the way, and they all were just gorgeous, but they had to pick 3, and so these 3 were chosen. But all the students did a magnificent job. We wish we could award everyone, but we just could do 3. So thank you. And they can leave, by the way, so it's all right. Don't make a commotion, you can leave. Or you can stay.
Let's see, any other received communications? Anyone want to share?
Yeah, I got some. I want to talk about this pot thing here, this Colorado marijuana thing. As y'all know, we're legalized marijuana in Colorado. They can go into the store and pick it up and buy it and come back here to South Carolina. What happens when I get to Irmo? Do I get arrested for having marijuana? Is that the deal?
Yes.
For any amount or just?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, the federal government has released their control on it as a controlled substance
Yeah, but that's,
at this point.
it's a little weird, isn't it? I mean, I'm just curious as how that works, because if I go to another state, and I go there and buy a bottle of beer in Colorado, and then come back to Irmo and get arrested for having, basically something that's legal in another state, how's that gonna fly in the court system? I'm not trying to test it, I'm just asking a question. If
Well,
it's totally legal in another state, why is it?
But if it's
when I get off
illegal
the-
in this state, then it'd be illegal in this state. Now, if you smoked it all before you got to the, before you got to the line,
Right.
or got out of their state or whatever, then, unless they did a blood test to find out if you had it in there, then they couldn't arrest you.
But
Driving.
they could test me and say you got marijuana in your system.
Yeah, they could probably
So now they can
arrest
arrest
you
me for that.
for driving.
So is that right, Chief? Can I get arrested for having marijuana in my system?
You can be charged with driving under the influence of not just alcohol, but any drug in
Yeah.
South Carolina. It doesn't matter whether it's a legal or illegal drug, you can still be under the influence and be charged with driving under the influence.
I understand that, but but marijuana in particular, can I be arrested for having marijuana in my system in Irmo, South Carolina?
You cannot be charged with possession of marijuana if you do not have the drug on you. You don't have the metabolites in your blood. You cannot be charged with possession that way.
Unless he were driving erratically
Then you're charged with driving under the influence, and the intoxicating substance would be marijuana.
All right, so let me get this straight, so I understand, so I can tell my constituents. I can go to Colorado, get high as a kite, get off the plane, come back to Irmo with marijuana in my system, and not have a physical joint, but have the drugs in my system, and not have to worry about getting arrested.
If you do not do anything to bring the attention of law enforcement, such as disorderly conduct or driving under influence, that is correct. You can go to Colorado, smoke marijuana, and come back to Irmo, South Carolina, be under the influence of said intoxicant and not be arrested, provided you do not act disorderly or something like that.
You also need to understand that even though under state law in Colorado, it is lawful under state law, the possession and use of a substance still is a violation of federal law.
Exactly.
Now, the feds generally won't do anything for small amounts, but they can. So the question is, if you came back and got off, I hate to interrupt, Ryan, but if you came back and got off.
No, I wonder,
If you came back and got off the airplane, you act perfectly normal, but you're high, nobody can arrest you. But if you get off the airplane and you act goofy, and you just because of marijuana, and you're in public and it's displayed, then that's public disorderly conduct. On the other hand, even if you smoke it and use it and play in it and roll in it, do whatever you want to do with it in Colorado, you still are technically in violation of the federal statutes. And the question as to how the federal legislature is going to deal with this particular revolt by the states is going to be an interesting question when it shakes out. So you can't really tell somebody, even in Colorado, well, you're perfectly safe to go buy and smoke dope. You're violating federal laws all over the place when you do it. Now, is anybody going to bother you? They haven't so far. The medical marijuana in California violates the federal statutes. But nobody's bothering anybody. So they kind of got a Mexican standoff. The feds don't want to get involved in that small amount, but it's technically illegal.
but that's my point though, is that you can go to Colorado, I can go to Colorado today and get off the plane, go to the store and buy a joint and bring it back to Columbia. But if I do that, now I'm in violation of local pot laws, right?
Right, only across our border.
But it's okay as long as I'm in the state of Colorado.
It's okay by way of Colorado state law. It's not okay in Colorado, if you're there, you're still in violation of federal law if you have it. But the feds don't do anything about it.
My friend John Denver referred to it as the Rocky Mountain High.
Yeah.
You know, there are a lot of things that happen like that, even with ammunition. You can go to any state and if you obtain ammunition and bring it across the state lines and you don't have the proper permits for it, you know, it's perfectly legal to buy it, but it's not legal to take it across state lines.
One of the problems we have here is you can go to a head shop and buy a hash pipe. And if Brian and his friends decide to arrest you, they're going to charge you potentially with possession of drug paraphernalia. Rolling paper, buy them legally as hell, but you can be charged with possession of drug paraphernalia. Go explain that one to me. There's just areas in the law that are, you know, on the fringe that gosh only knows.
So my point is this: when somebody decides to test this in Irmo, which you might have somebody do that, I'm not saying who, somebody's gonna go to Colorado, buy a joint, they're gonna get off the plane at CAE, and they're gonna come down here and say, okay, Brian, I just got back from my trip to Colorado, and...
If they're in possession of marijuana, they'll be charged.
Absolutely.
Really?
Yes.
In South Carolina. If they're here in South Carolina, I would expect him to be charged.
Charged with possession?
Of marijuana.
And that's a misdemeanor? Is that a misdemeanor?
And not only that, it depends on where they are. When they talk to the chief, it could be
within the school zone?
within a proximity of a school, which is another charge.
It's still illegal here.
Okay, so I know what to tell my constituents now. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Go on out there and stay 2 or 3 weeks.
Any other receipt of communication?
I believe that's enough.
Next item is presentation by citizens. This is the time where citizens who want to speak to us about anything that's on the agenda, it has to be on the agenda, but this is the time to do so. Is there anyone who would like to address Irmo Town Council about anything on the agenda? Seeing none. Next item is unfinished business. Item A, third and final reading of ordinance 1312 to amend our Irmo Town Code in regards to the fire prevention and protection. Is there a motion for third reading?
So moved.
And second?
Second.
So who was the...
Either one.
Either one.
Any discussion?
I haven't seen a copy of the International Fire Codes in its entirety. Does anybody have a copy of that handy that I can look at?
It's a phone book, isn't it?
I was just looking.
Yeah, it's about as thick as a phone book.
It's
As thick as a phone book?
Yeah.
Is that big? And is that much difference between that and the one we have now? The difference between the two codes? I mean,
No, just get up to, obviously, these things change, and we've got to make improvements in regards to fire and life safety, and when they rewrite the fire codes, they incorporate these improvements, and that's basically what the new code is. It's just got a lot of improvements.
I mean, its improvements is such like you have to have a new BR-15 fire extinguisher opposed to an AR-17 fire extinguisher, or that kind of stuff like that?
Yes. There may be other requirements. There may be upgrades to kitchens and restaurants, those kinds of things. That's something you'd be familiar with. Yeah, there may be some new requirements for kitchens and restaurants.
So is this stuff of the existing restaurants grandfathered in, the ones that are here now, or we have to upgrade the existing restaurants that are...
Word grandfather does not appear anywhere in the fire code. As a matter of fact, there's a chapter 11 now in the fire code that was never there before. Chapter 11 applies specifically to existing businesses. But how that's enforced is up to us.
Yeah.
I don't get crazy about this stuff.
See, I have a problem with that, and that's why I'm asking the questions, because you have existing restaurants. Let me use that example because I'm in the restaurant business. You have an existing restaurant that's been operating for years under AR-19 fire code or whatever. And now we have adopted a new code for these restaurants, and now these restaurants have to adopt to the new code, which may be a substantial amount of cost to these existing businesses. And I ran into that same experience downtown. they went from one type of fire extinguisher suppression system to another, and I had to adopt my hood system to accommodate the new fire suppression system. Although the one I had existing never went off, it never got used. There was nothing wrong with it, but I had to adopt to the new fire extinguishing system, which cost me to have to spend, I think it was like $6,000 or something like that to upgrade our hood system to adopt to the new code and system. And there wasn't anything about a grandfather clause in there or anything like you had mentioned. There was no mention of that. You know, I had to adopt this new system. Now, what that did to me is it cost me a large and a big expense on my restaurant business, because I had to figure out where to get the money from to upgrade the system. And at the same time, I was threatened with being shut down if I didn't do it, because I didn't have the funds to adopt the new system. And if we're going to adopt this new system in Irmo, what I'm trying to get at is that we don't want to do that same thing to our existing businesses. For instance, the restaurants that have an outdated fire system, they may need to go to the new system, but at least let them have an opportunity to do that over a period of time. Don't say to them, well, we have adopted, the town has adopted this new system, so you have to do it tomorrow. If you don't do it, you're shut down. That kind of thing. And that's what I don't want to get to.
I mean, if I may, Jeff, if I'm not mistaken, you've been operating under this new code for a while. I mean, so it's not going to be like tomorrow we're going to go out and there's a new code in place.
We're required.
This is an administrative change.
We're required to adopt that. Every town and county, every municipality and county is required by law to adopt the legally adopted statewide code. This code was adopted by the state effective July 1st of last year.
Correct.
So on July 1st of last year, really, and that's my fault, I should have come to Bob earlier, we were required to adopt, the county did, and Richland and Lexington County, we were required to adopt that. And the law says adopt it and enforce it. Now, let me back up for a second. We're not the city of Columbia. I won't say anything about how they enforce stuff and shut restaurants down. We're not the city of Columbia. So we don't do things that way. But you brought up a great example. The cooking oils used in the deep fat fryers changed to a synthetic cooking oil. The heats produced by that cooking oil were significantly higher than the heat that you had been producing with the cooking oils you've been using. The dry chemical system that you had, if you'd had a fire, would not have put that fire out. The new wet chemical UL 300 was what you were
Correct.
Yeah, the UL 300 systems will extinguish a fire that's as a result of the heat generated from the synthetic oils. That's why we had to go to that new UL 300 system. It's good that you've never had the system activated. That's why we buy insurance, just in case. And that's what a hood suppression system is. Where do we have problems in restaurants? In the kitchen. And hopefully we never have problems. But that's why we put these systems in there. It's an insurance policy, so that if we ever have a problem, that they'll activate and they'll suppress, or at least maintain, lock it down until the young guys get there on that big red fire truck.
And that's exactly what I want to have accomplished, is to do what we can do as a council to make sure that we have the tools in place. But at the same time, I don't want to be an ogre and say that if you don't adopt these new systems right off the bat, we're going to shut you down tomorrow, because the town of Irmo has adopted these new policies and have come up to speed with the rest of the county, which is great. It's great if you can do that, if you can afford to do that. But to me, I felt like it was totally unnecessary, something I had to spend the money to do, which I could have done over a period of time, given a period of time to do it, not be saying that, we're not grandfathered in, you have to do it tomorrow. If we don't do it tomorrow, we're going to shut you down. That kind of attitude, you know what I'm saying? That's the only difference that I'm trying.
You'll never hear that from me, and I'm again not going to say what.
And that's fine, Jeff.
I'm the city of Columbia.
We're not the city of Columbia. You're absolutely correct.
I can't speak for them. I can say that over the past 10 years, I would encourage you to find out how many summonses I've written in the town against businesses for non-compliance with fire code. And I think you'll probably find the number is pretty low. Okay? I work with all businesses. I mean, it's something I do exactly along the lines of.
We appreciate that. I appreciate that personally, because being a small businessman, a small restaurateur, I know how expensive it can be to try to
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
keep up to date with every change that happens. You know, it's very difficult to do that. But anyway, you've answered my questions.
Any other questions? All in favor then of third reading of the changes to adopt the International Fire Code, do so with show of hands. Next item is item P, establishing a priority for the Penny for Progress projects. And there's a couple of things we can do. Where is that list at? Here it is. Someone can make a motion to, however they want them in order, 1 through 5, however that may be. We can second it, discuss it, and then change it. Or we can kind of discuss it first and see which ones people want to put on there, take off, leave off, add, and then make a motion. I don't know if anybody's got a particular order they want them in that they want to present first, and then we'll...
Let's start this way. I'll make a motion that we establish a priority. If I can get a second.
Second.
Okay, now we got some discussion. How do you want to start?
Well, is there any, just...
All right, I made the motion. If I may start, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
I have a question for the town administrator. As I understand it, you've come up with a very good list. But I also, as I understand it from talking with you this evening, that we're going to present that, each one of our items, basically on a separate form, and the powers to be will take those and they will prioritize them and tell us kind of what will fly and what won't fly and what they would do first, what they would do second. Is that correct?
No, they still want to know what the most important one to us.
To us.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that that will be etched in stone. It could come back, our first priority, they could say, probably no chance of getting it funded.
Right, because they'll do their checklist and it may score very low.
Okay, that was my point. I just didn't want us to give the impression we're going to categorize these things 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's etched in stone. Our number one could get wiped off the slate.
That's correct.
Okay.
That group,
The Alliance Group.
Yeah, and how many people, well, not that group, but the citizen group, the ones that the county appointed.
Yeah.
They will, from all these lists that they're getting from everybody, and let's just say there's 300 projects turned in, then they turn around and say, okay, 300 projects cost $500 million, we only got 300, let's cut it in half, and let's throw all these off, and let's settle on these, and then once they settle on something, then they start prioritizing first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So,
and that's exactly the way I understood it.
We could have nothing on there, we could get them all on there, or they could be near the top or near the bottom.
Right.
And then once that group makes that list, and however they come up with it, it goes to Lexington County Council, and they either vote for it just as it is, or they
change it.
Well, they can't change it. They can't change that list once it's done. All they can do is approve it or not approve it.
Vote for it or send it back.
Yeah. And then it goes to the referendum. And the only thing, it's hard to know what, but you have to remember that whoever's making that final list, and let's say there's going to be 100 projects on it or some number, they've got to pick out 100 projects that they think the public will vote for. Which ones are the public going to vote for? Are they going to vote for this? Are they going to vote for that? What's important? And I'll just add some stuff in here, and this is my own personal, I'm going to have to, but say, like our building. They may say, hey, Irmo needs a building. They may say, I live in Batesburg, Leesville, period. I don't care. They may say, if it's a road that I drive on, like Lake Murray Boulevard, I care. If it's a road I don't drive on, I don't care. Because they got to figure out what are people going to vote for. Lexington's kind of a tight.
We mean what people in Lexington County.
Yeah, Lexington County vote.
Not the Richland County.
Right.
That's where our problem is. We're halfway between
Yeah.
Lexington and
So
Richland.
only the people that live in
The only people in
Lexington.
Lexington are the ones that can vote.
Right.
So,
And they'll be trying to pick out stuff also from every area, because they won't vote from every area, so they'll want stuff from every area. But,
And I think this is going to be harder because it's Lexington than Richmond
Right.
was.
yeah, and the people in Lexington, they're more conservative.
on
They
the
may
list you
turn it
got
down.
here, you got, excuse me, I mean, the list you got here, you got, this is Richland County, Richland County, Richland County.
There's nothing on the list.
Yeah,
of
all this
Richland
stuff here
County.
is Lexington.
Well, I'm looking at Thames Valley, St. Andrews,
Yeah,
that's
that's-
Richland County. isn't it?
Lexington.
Richland County's down past the cotton well, right? Really
It's right there? Okay.
I couldn't put anything on the list in Richland County.
Yeah, okay, I'm
where-
sorry, all right, you're right, okay, I apologize.
This priority is the way I would, I don't know whether you intended it that way, but first priority is the new public works building. The second is the curb and sidewalk on Church Street. Third is that intersection at Lizards and the railroad.
See, I wanted to move the Public Works building over to the new park.
I don't think, is that enough?
I haven't heard anything about it. I mean,
Well, too, you don't want to use, I wouldn't think you'd want to use any of that land because there's, I don't say not enough already, but there's, I mean, it's tight as far as getting Oak Street in there and you go build a big building in there, then you
And
may
all
end
this
up losing.
equipment, you want it near something safe, like police department. I
Well,
don't-
that was my point exactly, is, I know Bob gave this list out to us some time ago and asked for feedback, you know, and my feedback was I liked the order that he had
I like
it.
it, yeah.
But I just didn't want the public or it to go into the record that this is the order that we voted on, and we could be assured that it would come out to, in that order. Because as I understood the process, there will be other minds that will be casting a vote as to the order
Some of these
or funding.
roads, some of these resurfacings are critical,
Absolutely.
but people in Batesburg, Leesville don't know that.
They don't care about,
You know,
right.
They don't
right.
know that my car's been knocked out of alignment twice because of Pebblegate, you know. And any of them, Grantham, I'm sure is bad, but that intersection, Thames Valley and St. Andrews, that's pretty bad. You know, it's dangerous almost.
Yeah.
Bob, I'm going to ask you, even though we put a project down, that's not necessarily an Irmo project will be chosen, is that right?
Correct.
Right.
We can turn all these in and none of them get on the referendum.
And right offhand, how many Lexington County residents do we have in Irmo?
My goodness, about a third. So I would say probably close to 3,500, 4,000, maybe out of the town.
So a penny sale increase is an increase, it's a tax. I say we vote no on nothing, because we don't want the penny sales tax extra. I don't think.
Well, that's an option. Yeah.
Right, we
Wait a
don't have to
minute,
turn in anything.
That's because you live in Richland County now.
No, we live in
I live in Lexington County, but you're going to vote for a project that it's going to be well, the restaurants going to have to, it's going to hurt the restaurants. They have to raise the menus. It's just not good. I don't think we should support it, in my opinion.
And I'll say this too, kind of, I mean, I live in the Richland County portion, but if I were living in, say, the other side of Lexington, Red Bank, Pillion, or whatever, and I was a conservative, stingy, not want to pay a dime in taxes person, that I may be anyway, I don't know. But I would probably go, I ain't paying an extra penny for a public works building, and they can walk on the street, they don't need a sidewalk, and, you know, I'd go down the list and think in my mind. Now, if they were saying something about Lake Murray Boulevard, the dam, or, you know, whatever, I might sit there and go, okay, I've crossed that road before, how, you know. And it depends on how many of that stuff's on the list. Now, if there was a whole bunch of stuff on the list that affected me as I drove down the road or went to the airport or whatever, I might vote for it. If there was a bunch of stuff on there, I thought, I don't care one way or the other, I think there's a whole lot of those people over there. And I think
How
we're going to
much
have
is
a hard
Richland's
time.
now? How much is,
Which one's what?
They did a penny too, didn't they?
Maybe penny too.
so it's
Gas station
7?
penny.
They're all together 9 in some places on food and stuff, I think.
8, 9, yeah.
Well, it depends. It's 10 cents if you're downtown Columbia.
Okay.
It's 9 cents if you live in the county. And it's
10 cents in
10
downtown?
cents downtown Columbia. Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
So, I mean, yeah, these pennies add up all over the place, and I agree. But the problem is that, you know, like Councilman Harvey Hoot said, what's the chances of us getting one of these things?
Like, it's
You know.
unknown.
Like you just said, Mayor, I mean,
If I
if
were
you
the
were in
person,
Basin Leeds, we're looking at this list, saying, I'm gonna give Irmo a new public works building with a penny sales tax, why?
I didn't want to be negative, I just wanted it to be perfectly clear that the order in which we voted on would not necessarily be the final.
Because when it goes on the referendum, they're not really.
and you can
they're gonna have
take some
to
stuff
order.
off and only leave one on there and turn in one and say fooey, or 2 or 3 or whatever.
Do they
I
have,
like the list,
do
but
they have a responsibility to give us at least something,
No,
so we could end up with nothing at all?
no. The lady
Now, the
came over
only-
last week from Alliance Engineering Group and told me West Columbia's already turned theirs in. They got 62 projects on there.
See, that's ridiculous.
I know.
You know,
And
that's
see, the
just
only
totally-
thing too
That would
is,
make me vote against.
I'm just saying.
I would vote against it.
Yeah.
they may, the
Yeah.
group of people making this list, they know in their mind too, that if we don't have something in the Irmo area, something in the Chapin area, something in the West Columbia Casey, we're gonna lose those. So they're gonna be putting stuff on the list everywhere. But now, Irmo, Chapin Recreation, and maybe the school district or the library, they could be putting stuff on too. And it could be the Irmo Library gets something, or Irmo Chapin Rec gets something, but Irmo Town doesn't. They may pick out stuff from those other entities and put it on there. And, you know, it depends on if they think, is that a priority enough? Would that pass the people's test? And would they vote on it if we put this on there? Rock Hill has done it 3 times. All theirs went to roads, intersections, bridges, and that was it. It failed the first time, it passed the second time, then it passed another time, then it passed another. Sumter tried it, and the first one flunked. But they had like water park and some other stuff on there that people said no. They took all that stuff off and went back to basic, and it passed. So I think that's a lot with what they get on that list. If it's true need, like that, what's that road
Which one?
that started it over there at the airport?
Oh, the Hardy
Expressway. You know, if things like that are on there, people will probably say, yeah, we need to do that road. If there's certain intersections in Lexington that you can't get through, they might say, hey, let's put this on there. But there's some other, you know, things that I've heard people say we're putting on there, and I thought I wouldn't vote for that. I don't know what they put on there, 63, but
That's
kind of like
totally
just
turned into
asking.
62 projects, and I'm sure they're asking for everything, and the county's going to ask for everything, and so are each one of the towns. I mean, it boils down to you want to try to get something, you know, if it's going to be voted in.
If it's going to pass.
If
yeah.
it's gonna pass.
And I think that's a big if.
That's
And the main thing too is, depending on which way you want to look at it, is there stuff that we're turning on the list that we know we can't do? Like that Hardy Expressway, that DOT hadn't got the money. This is the only way they can probably get it done. And maybe some other projects out there that DOT has said, we ain't got the money, or whoever. And they just can't get it done, so this is a way of doing it. But the public would probably be looking at, well, they can do that themselves, but they may. So is there any motion for putting them on in this order, taking them off, leaving them off, or just nothing?
I like to try to talk to the committee, or is Brad on this committee?
They're not going to allow us to talk to the committee. We have to work through the alliance. Well, you could. I mean, I'm sorry, as a politician, you could find out who's on the committee, but, you know, the process is set up so the Alliance Consulting Group, the ones that came and gave us the presentation, they're going to collect all the projects from everybody, and they're going to do a little scorecard thing, and then they're going to submit them all, you know, to the committee to decide. And then, of course, it comes down to money, how many projects. They can only do 100, and they got 400 to choose from. And I don't know what they're going to use for their criteria or how they're going to do it. It's going to be closed door.
That's fine, but I want to know what the chances of us getting 1 out of 100 projects done.
Right. It depends on how it
If you're
scores.
saying West Columbia put in 60-something projects and we're going to have 4, our chances is, boom, just went down right there,
There are a lot of unpaved roads in Lexington.
A lot of unpaved, that's correct. A lot of dirt roads.
So we're trying to resurface roads. People don't even have paved road. I just don't think it's going to make it.
Yeah, I would think, and I'm again just thinking, that whoever those people are, and they got, I can't remember who they are, but they're probably going to start with the big projects that are important, can't get the money anywhere else. And then, in order to get votes from every part of the county, then they're going to start trying to pick out stuff to get votes in every area. Kind of a
So they don't care about our old 4,000 votes over here?
Well,
I mean,
they're
I'm
gonna-
serious.
they will. They'll try to get some from the Irmo here. They'll try to get some from Chapin. But they may turn around and look and say, well, the only thing Chapin put down or the only thing Irmo put down is, well, we're going to stick this one on here. We're going to stick. But if they stick too many of those won't pass muster ones on there, then the voters are going to. So they have to kind of. They have to kind of be looking at what will the voters vote for. Yeah. And if it's good stuff, I think the voter will pass it, but if it's not, I mean, I've heard a lot of complaints from day one.
I don't think it'll pass
I
personally.
think it's going to pass.
I can't vote, I'm in Richland County, so.
I do think we need that building.
I think the only good thing they're doing on theirs is it's only good for 7 years. And then and they get the list, they put it together, council votes on it, it's a done deal, and then go 1 through 20 or whatever. They can't change it midstream, which Richland County can. They can, whatever. So I think that's a good way of doing it. The people can look on that list and go, yeah, I like that list, or I don't like that list, and they vote for it or they don't. But then they know the money's got to be spent in that order on those projects. So,
So I vote for no.
well, do you want to make a motion then? I mean, you can make a motion, we can second it and discuss it.
Well, Harvey made a motion to establish a priority,
Yeah, Harvey,
and then Barry seconded.
so we can
If it's
amend.
the will of council, I'll be glad to.
Well, no, he
move
can
my vote.
amend and just say,
Zero priority is a priority, isn't it?
So you're saying just submit it the way it is, just let them,
No,
you're saying don't submit anything?
I don't think we should submit anything because it's an increase, it's a tax increase.
It is, but what if it
But they're
doesn't
going to
pass?
increase it anyway.
Well, if it passes,
It's going to pass.
it could pass without our projects.
right.
And so that means we get nothing.
But if our project's on there,
We get
citizens
something.
blame us for the reason why they got voted for, because Irmo wanted a building, another building.
If
could
we don't
build that
have anything on the
building our
list,
own.
if we don't have anything on the list, we can say, well, you never asked for anything, so
That's
we
fine.
never given you anything. I don't agree with that. I think we should put something.
We're a blessed town. I think other parts of Lexington County need that money, need that help.
Yeah, I do too, but I don't agree we should not put anything. I mean, at least give them something. If they don't want to approve any of that stuff, that's fine. I'd rather for them to tell me no than for us not to submit anything and not have anything in the game.
Well,
It's just like the lottery. If you don't play the lottery, you can't win. Okay?
That's true.
you can find a ticket on the ground.
you didn't buy it. You didn't win.
I found one in my parking lot one day. I got excited.
I know the restaurants. Have you talked to the restaurants if they would like it, the ones in Lexington County? I have. I've talked to one, but he says he is definitely against it.
Let me tell you something. Paying 10 cents on a dollar downtown Columbia, another penny ain't gonna kill you.
Sure.
It's not gonna kill you. It's an inconvenience, but it's not gonna kill you. No, I don't like paying it, but hey, if it's uniform across the board, I don't have a problem with it. Where I have a problem with it is when I have to pay it in Lexington County and don't have to pay it in Richland County, and I don't have to pay it in Irmo, or I do have to pay it in Irmo and don't have to pay it. That's when that's when it becomes a problem. But at the same time, I don't think we should. I mean, give them the list. If they don't pick anything off the list, at least we've submitted something. If you don't have anything, if you don't give them anything, they can say, clearly, we're going to take your penny. Thank you very much, Irmo, South Carolina, for giving us the penny. and we're gonna spend that money in Batesburg, Leesville. And we're not even gonna consider anything that you might have added. At least they've given us something to consider, even though they may not, chances are highly unlikely. I agree.
Well, I can make a suggestion. I mean, the Thames Valley thing, and I'll just say, I asked for Bob to put that on there because I know I sit at that intersection a lot and wait on people to turn left and turn right or whatever and get out of the way and meet out of theirs and all that kind of stuff. The Public Works, I felt like, yeah, we got the cash. We could build one of, I mean, we built a 1 point something, and I won't say that park, but we did build a park. So we got money for that every month. The sidewalk at Church Street, we can probably get a grant for that, a DOT grant at some point. And it's be done like we do the rest of the sidewalks. So if Paul wants to make a motion for nothing, I will second that. If you want to make a motion for one thing, I would vote for Thames Valley, but that's about the only thing I'd vote for. But then again, I don't even know if it's got a good chance because the railroad, CSX, and right-of-way and DOT and all that kind of stuff, it's going to be low.
It's not ready. That needs right away.
But at some point, I think we need to probably get that intersection
They're
fixed.
gonna collect the tax anyway, even if we say nothing. They're still gonna collect the 1 cent tax.
But if we have nothing on our list here, and say Irmo Chapin put something on their list, or the recreation, they may assign it to them as opposed to us, and it's still in this area. Or the library down the street, because I just got a letter from the library, they're going to be putting stuff on that.
The library's putting stuff on this thing too?
I just read it shortly, but from what I can tell is they're going to be submitting, because they want more space, conference room space.
How did the library get involved in this?
Well, because they're all, any
in Lexington
school
County.
district, any entity like that, any recreation commission, any municipality, all can submit stuff. And even the county council members for this side over here can submit.
Me?
So Johnny Jeff Code
against
and, what's the other guy's name? Matthews?
Bradley.
They may submit stuff too for this side because this is their county area. So just because we don't submit something doesn't mean they're not going to.
And I hope Mr. Luther is writing down that the mayor recommended that we build a building.
No, I said we could go to bed if we wanted to.
So, I really don't know. What county do, yeah, I know you live in Richland County.
I live in Richland.
And I live in Richmond, so I can't vote for it anyhow.
So Barry, what county do you live in?
Lexington.
And you, Lexington. So we can vote for it. They cannot vote for it,
I'm not going to vote
but I'm not voting.
Who's we can vote for it?
for you and me.
We as a council
The
still
whole
vote.
council can vote for
No,
it.
no, when it comes up for.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
ballot.
yeah.
It's going to have all the properties listed, and you say yes or no.
Well, I'll do this to get us started. I'll make an amendment then, that the only thing that we put on the list is Thames Valley. Is there a second? So,
Wait a minute, we thinking.
no,
Wait a minute.
well, I'm just getting
For
started. The only thing on there would be Thames Valley.
Okay, so
That's
this,
it.
we agree to prioritize it. That's what he
Yeah,
made a motion
which we're doing now. Now, I'm amending it.
to say the only thing on the priority is that.
I mean, Kim's got to get it right here.
Yeah, so I'm
So
amending
was
it.
it unanimous that we were going to establish a priority?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
No.
Well, we got a first and second. Yeah, we just got a
I
first,
mean, yeah,
so
of
we're in
course,
discussion.
just vote, yeah.
Okay.
So now I'm amending it to remove all the other 4 projects from the list and just leave Thames Valley. Is there a second?
I need to ask a question first, that I think you just said and I missed it. CSX is going to throw a monkey wrench into,
We'd have to get right away from
We had to
them,
get
and
right
that
away
takes a
from
long
them, and we
time.
may have to get it from the other side of the street, and yada, yada, yada.
So that makes it not doable. I mean, really.
Kinda, yeah, I mean, it could be. At some point, they're gonna have to do it.
And the county never does that anyway, it's a state.
No, it just means that we would get a low score on the scoring sheet because it's a project
because,
that's not
well,
ready. Yeah.
Crap,
But
go through.
if it's the only thing from our town, then they may put it on there anyway. You just don't know. I mean, you just don't know. But if there's
You have
not a
traffic
second,
count- You have traffic count numbers of these, like, at Thames Valley, do you have any, or Thames Valley, do you have any, the traffic count that comes at that intersection?
From the last one that we had out, 2012 was the last DOT traffic count that was produced.
Or what was
We
it?
have it, but it doesn't tell you anything about how long you gotta wait for somebody making a left turn.
Any
So you
wrecks
get to the
there?
left.
Have any
well,
wrecks?
let's get a second, and if we're not, then we won't discuss it anymore. If you're going to, that's fine. If you're not, that's fine with me too.
don't think people would vote on this because any of it.
No.
So no second. All right, so that fails. So we're back to, right now, we kind of are prioritizing.
I think we should,
You make a motion.
I'm with you.
I'd like to make a motion that we just leave that list the way it is.
And the order that they are, 1 through 5.
So right, 1 through 5.
All right, is there a
And
second?
see what we get. Just leave the list the way it is and see what we get.
I think that was my motion as well.
Right.
So is there a second?
Well, that's what we already seconded.
Well, no, what we're doing, what we made the motion for was just to prioritize them. We
Oh,
really
okay.
got them in order.
Right.
But you're saying do it just like that, 1 through 5.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, so we need, okay.
So is there a second to actually do it just like this?
I'll make the
Yeah.
motion.
Yeah, I hate to, I can't vote, I would vote against it totally if I were allowed to vote. Let me do this, let me second it, just to get it on the table so I can ask another question.
All right, so there's a motion
I'll
and a
second,
second to do
leave them in
the
order.
list as they are here, 1 through 5 in that order.
Okay. Now, I have a question of the administrator. Back in years past, and the council will probably have to correct me on the times, but there was a 2-cent tax that was passed for restaurants. And 1 penny of that went to the county, Richland County. And the other penny, if elected by the municipality, would come to Irmo. We voted as a council not to accept that penny, did we not?
Correct.
Will we have that same option if this passes this time?
Because
Then I'll vote against it.
Countywide. So,
We don't have an opt-out.
No, because if the referendum has a project of ours on there and it's voted in, then they're going to go down that list because that's what the voters voted for. So you couldn't say, no, I don't want to do that project after you got it on the referendum, if it gets on there.
Okay.
At the same time, if we don't have anything on that list, they're gonna still
We
take the
still
penny.
pay the tax
Still pay the
and get no
tax, right.
benefits.
Exactly.
Correct.
That's the problem. That's what I'm
Yep.
saying. If we don't have
Alright.
anything, you know, okay, we don't have anything, so what?
well, let's vote on this amendment and see. So we got a first and a second, and to turn them in to the penny sales tax people, penny for progress, in this order. All in favor? So there's 2. And all opposed? So, do you want to make a motion for nothing
I make a motion that we do not prioritize any of them,
and not turn anything in?
not turn anything in.
And I will second that. Is there any discussion?
Realizing that if we don't turn in nothing, we're not gonna get anything,
I didn't get a penny increase in my salary.
and it's still gonna take that penny from you.
That's fine. But
Okay,
I
so-
don't want to be part of a referendum that it gets passed because we have a project on there.
No, I'm saying, it doesn't matter, we don't have a project on there, they're still gonna collect that penny sales tax from us, no
Well,
matter what. We don't have a dog in the fight now.
But we'll
Or
be paying
we may
for
not have a
Hardy,
dog in the fight.
James Hardy Highway, or whatever, Hardyville, or Hardy something.
How you expect-
James
Hardy
Hardy
Express.
It ain't
Expressway.
gonna pass, don't worry. It ain't gonna pass, Barry. It'll be all right.
And we might be paying for
Counting
a,
on raise some votes.
we might be paying for a water park somewhere in some other part of the county. I don't know. We'll see what's on the list. So right now, we have an amendment and a second, a motion and a second, that we turn the list in with nothing on it to penny tax people. All in favor of that? All opposed? And, let's see. So that's the amended motion. Is there any discussion on that amended motion before we vote? Any more discussion?
I think we got 3 or 4 in the audience that went to sleep during the last discussion.
Well, I still think there's some other people turning stuff in, like the Recreation Commission and some stuff. I know at one time, I don't know what they're going to turn in on the list, but I heard that the trail along the river might be, and that's something that a lot of people might vote for because they might walk on it and they might use it.
Would benefit us too.
And I think if we had I won't call it a Hardy Expressway over here, major traffic problem, road or some sort like that, then people might see a need. And, you know, we had a bad intersection on Lake Murray Boulevard. You know, people might say, hey, yeah, they need to fix that. I wish they'd fix that, and they might vote for it. But any other discussion? So right now, we're voting on the amended to turn nothing in. All in favor?
Did we just vote?
Well, we voted on the amendment, now we got to vote
Okay,
on what?
You're voting actually doing that.
Yeah,
okay.
I ain't voting for that.
and all opposed?
It doesn't make any sense to me. This is very okay.
And let's see. Next item is new business, appointment of municipal clerk. Is there an appointment?
Yes. Would like to nominate Ms. Stanley. I work with her at least 2 days a week. Talk on the phone with her probably daily. And I would not sign a check if she didn't do the accounting. I absolute faith in her. So I'm happy and proud to nominate her. Second.
Yes,
We need a
ma'am.
second on the appointment?
Okay,
No, we just need an appointment. Any other appointments?
I nominate Jake Moore.
One minute for municipal clerk.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I was gonna try to do them all at one time. I gotta get it.
Check? You don't get Oh, we
all
might
in-
have to take a recess.
All in favor then of
Ms. Stanley.
Kim Stanley as the municipal clerk, do so with show of hands.
Okay, could we have a 5-minute recess?
Oh, come on, we can get this done.
got to
We
go.
can get this done, come on.
Oh,
Oh,
We can get this done,
Are you
come
sure
on.
you're all right? All right.
we got that last thing on there that you,
We're
we
gonna get
might
to
be
that
there
real
all
quick.
night.
No, it'll be quick.
An appointment for town judge.
I'd like to nominate Mickey Epting. Mickey has been, served this town well for many, many years. We won't go into the number, but have great faith in him and would like to see a unanimous vote for Mickey Epting, town
Second.
judge.
Happy.
Any discussion? Any other appointments? All in favor of Mickey Epting as town judge? And appointment for town attorney?
Last time.
I nominate Jake Moore as our town attorney. Jake's been a valuable asset in town for the last, 40 years? Since Moby Dick was a minnow. So we're just pleasure having him as an advisor. I was ecstatic about having him as my personal attorney. So I nominate Jake Moore.
Any other appointment? None? All in favor? And I want to say
You
something
may
real quick.
second that nomination.
Huh?
You may second that.
Yes, second.
I don't think we had to second on the appointment there.
Not required.
You don't.
Yeah, okay.
No.
The only thing I'm going to ask is I would like to see more legal opinion and less political opinion sometimes. And it's Christmas, so, and a New Year, and I'm in a good mood, happy mood. So all in favor of the appointment of the town attorney as Jake Moore, do so with show of hand. And what is this? Approval Next item is approval of Resolution 1401, adopting the town Irmo safety. And is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
And I will ask, is this it? Here, this thing here?
That's it.
And the reason we're doing this is, I think I read somewhere in the administrative briefing,
It helps us get our discount from
from
Smurf.
Municipal Association Insurance.
We do it every
all that
year.
kind of stuff. Any further discussion, questions?
No. Free.
All in favor then of the approval of the resolution, do so with show of hands. Next item is the approval for discussion of home repair grants program. So is there, you can call it a motion for discussion or a motion for approval?
I'd like to put that off until the next meeting, if I could. Reason why I need to talk with Jake more about a legal issue with this, and I want to get that discussed before I present it to council.
Okay.
So can we put that off until the next meeting?
Yeah, and the only thing I'll ask is when we put it back on, make sure we got some meat and bones of stuff.
Oh, yeah, you'll have it in the
that we
packet,
can
but I have to
look
talk
at.
to Jake
Oh,
about
okay.
the details. That's why I wanted, before we put it in the packet, since y'all look at it, I need to talk
Is
to the
everybody
legal issue.
fine with deferring it?
Is that all right, Council? Thank you.
Next item is presentation by citizens. This is where anyone who wants to speak to us about anything, regardless of whether it's on the agenda tonight or not, may do so at this time. All we ask is that you give us your name and address for the record, and just come up to the podium. No one here? Next item is executive session. Is there executive session needed, required? None known. Next thing would be adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
And all in favor? We are adjourned.